embraced. The response to the crisis is not dialogue, but isolation. The US figure reaches into its supply bin and pulls out a series of interlocking white blocks. With mechanical precision, it begins to snap them together along the perimeter of its quadrant. Across the table, the China figure mirrors the movement, stacking dark, dense blocks to form a matching barrier. The sound of plastic clicking into place becomes the only rhythm in the room. Layer by layer, the walls rise, obscuring the view between the two major powers. The center of the table, once a shared space for negotiation, is now a dead zone. Smaller, neutral figures hover in this narrowing gap. They shift their weight from one foot to the other, looking toward the US wall, then back toward the China wall, their plastic faces frozen in expressions of uncertainty. They reach out, attempting to place their own pieces into the center, but the growing barriers leave them no room to maneuver. The US figure places a final, locking brick at the top of its wall, creating a clean, sharp edge that cuts off the line of sight. The neutral nations remain motionless in the middle. The focus of the room shifts abruptly. In the heart of the dead zone, the block labeled AI begins to pulse. At first, it is a rhythmic, steady glow, but then the frequency accelerates. The light turns jagged and erratic, casting long, distorted shadows against the newly built walls. It is no longer a soft holographic projection. It is a blinding, strobe-like flare that cuts through the dim command center. The US figure stops its construction, hand hovering over a half-placed brick. The China figure drops its tool, the sound echoing sharply against the table surface. The Russia figure turns away from its border wall, and the Europe figure abandons its defense tower entirely. The light intensifies, turning the plastic surfaces of the room into reflective, white-hot planes. A low-frequency hum begins to vibrate the table, causing the smaller, neutral figures to topple over. All four leaders freeze. Their heads snap toward the center, locked in a singular hypnotic gaze. Then, they move. Simultaneously, four plastic hands reach out, clawing toward the source of the light. There is no coordination, only a frantic, desperate scramble to claim the block. The atmosphere tightens, the air thick with the sound of plastic scraping. They are no longer leaders. They are competitors in a race toward an unknown, volatile power. The reach for the center is interrupted by a sound like grinding stone. It starts beneath the floorboards, a deep, resonant vibration that shakes the very foundation of the command center. The leaders do not pull back. They grip the table edge, but the surface itself begins to betray them. The floor tiles, once a seamless grid, start to slide in opposing directions. A jagged fissure opens directly beneath the holographic table, splitting the center into two, then four distinct sections. The AI block, caught in the widening gap, flickers and drops into the dark void below. The leaders are jerked backward as the floor beneath them retracts. The US figure is pulled toward the north corner. The China figure slides toward the east, while the Russia and Europe figures are dragged toward the opposite ends of the room. The unified platform is gone. In its place, four isolated islands of floor space remain, separated by deep, dark trenches of empty space. The leaders scramble to maintain their balance, their plastic feet clicking frantically against the shifting tiles. The room is no longer a command center. It is a collection of disconnected cells. The grinding of the floor tiles ceases, leaving the four leaders stranded on their separate, jagged platforms. There is no attempt to bridge the gap. Instead, the focus shifts to the immediate task of entrenchment. The US figure pulls a microphone from the floor, its hand moving with mechanical precision to establish a secure link. Across the widening chasm, the China figure pivots toward a server rack, fingers dancing over keys to initiate a total system lockdown. The Russia figure turns its back on the center, eyes fixed on the border wall, reinforcing the plastic barrier with additional blocks. The Europe figure hunches over a stack of defense calculations, frantically balancing the cost of its tower against the dwindling resources. The sound of clicking plastic fills the room, a rhythmic, cold percussion. Each click is a declaration of finality. On the wall, the holographic map flickers to life, now dissected by deep, glowing lines that trace the new boundaries of their isolation. The light from the holographic map begins to pulse, then dims, then vanishes entirely. The room is plunged into a heavy, suffocating shadow. The four figures remain in their corners, motionless, their plastic forms barely visible against the dark floor tiles. The clicking of bricks has stopped. The hum of the servers has died. There is no movement. There is no communication. The era of global negotiation has evaporated, leaving behind only the cold architecture of division. Then, the sound begins. A steady, rhythmic, metallic beat echoes through the empty space. Tick. The sound is sharp, precise, and relentless. Tick. It fills the void where the leaders once spoke, where the map once glowed, where the world once felt connected. Tick. It is the sound of a countdown that has no end, a reminder of the time lost to the walls they built. The figures do not turn. They do not react. They are permanent fixtures in a landscape of their own making. The ticking grows louder, filling the silence until it is the only thing that remains. The screen fades to black, swallowing the room, the leaders, and the map. The ticking continues, steady and cold, marking the seconds of a new, fragmented reality where the silence is absolute and the cooperation is dead. Tick, tick. The sound persists until it, too, fades into nothingness, leaving only the weight of the dark.